It itches, it hurts, and it burns. Is it a sting though, or a bite? Something got you there for sure, but what exactly? If the culprit's long gone, it's seldom easy to guess which insect had the audacity to steal your blood. Therefore, we prepared a little guide for you based on which you can figure out what exactly has stung you. Let's go. Number 8. Hornets. While we hope that no one ever needs to be acquainted with a hornet, sometimes the insect comes into close proximity. The sting of a hornet can cause not only considerable swelling, but also redness. It may even form small blisters on the skin. When stung by a hornet, caution is a real need because the poison is relatively strong and can cause the victim an unusual amount of pain. If one should feel weak and get cold limbs, or their ears and lips turn blue, or they have trouble breathing, you should consult a doctor immediately. This is not to be trifled with. Number 7. Bees. If you've been stung by a bee, then you might have realized that the stinger most often remains stuck in the skin. This is even the cause of death for most bees because while they pull up from the skin, they tear off their entire abdomen and die from the wound. You should definitely remove that stinger as quickly as possible. With the sting of a bee, the skin swells and blushes. Most people feel a burning, intense pain which is followed by a terrible itch. If you aren't allergic, this is about as much as you should feel. However, allergy sufferers could have breathing problems which are to be taken very seriously. The sting of a wasp feels very similar, but they have the ability to use their stinger multiple times. That's why if you find no stinger in the skin, it could be a wasp sting. Number 6. Ticks. It's no wonder that we're warned so often about ticks because their bites involve greater risks than you might think. If you place a tick onto the skin, of course it's easy to spot the culprit. Sometimes they're already detached from the body and therefore you may never even notice them. The affected area is slightly red and is often mistaken for a mosquito bite, but you don't always feel it. Unfortunately, ticks can carry diseases such as Lyme's disease or encephalitis, which is what makes their bites really dangerous. If the tick is still on your body, it should be removed as soon as possible, preferably with a special tool such as a tick card. Number 5. Lice. Anyone who's ever had lice can testify that it's not very difficult to recognize them. Your head and ears and neck are constantly itchy and it will not stop. Unfortunately, it often happens that those places can be itchy for many reasons. But once they've made it onto your head and in between your hairs, the itching becomes very different. If you look at the scalp, you'll even see small red dots that are spreading everywhere. In most cases, you can see the lice themselves primarily because they stick to the hair or the scalp. Getting rid of them is quite tedious, but not impossible with modern products. Number 4. Ants. Most ants are harmless to humans, but the red fire ant can pose a considerable difficulty. When bitten by one, pustules form and can even stay long after healing. The venom of the ant contains substances that can quickly lead to allergic reactions, including anaphylactic shock. The bite of a normal ant, sometimes found in a garden or house, is much less dangerous. A mosquito bite is very similar, but a pink spot at the bite site might take quite some time to disappear. At the time of the bite, you'll feel a burning pain and as if boiling water is being dripped over the skin. Not a nice feeling. Number 3. Horsefly. The horsefly may be encountered more frequently than one would like. Especially dog owners will know these insects if they like to spend their rainy days in damp wet forests or in the meadow. They look like large flies with a somewhat elongated body and bite vigorously. First, a small red dot appears in the area and it swells. Then the itching begins. However, the bite itself is actually painful enough. In addition, a horsefly bite might carry anthrax, Weil's disease, or tularemia. Fortunately, we are not the preferred prey of the critters as they tend to prefer to position themselves on cattle. Number 2. Bedbugs. Are bedbugs actually just a rumor? Do you know anyone that's ever actually been bitten by them? If coincidentally you are the first person in your friend circle, then you will definitely know it by the following characteristics because bedbugs really do exist. They mostly exist in holiday destinations and hotels, especially when the beds aren't taken care of with proper hygiene. They're nocturnal and because of this, they're attracted by the heat and smell and the breath of the human body. The bites are actually more painful than mosquito bites and they're rarely noticed because they wouldn't wake you up from sleeping. You may only recognize them the next morning because there are several bites lying in a row of red spots, usually on uncovered body parts like your legs or arms. However, it can be hard to distinguish them from flea bites. And finally, number 1, fleas. So that you don't have to stare at your skin any longer at loss, we finally come to the small flea bites. They can also leave quite a nasty trace. But flea bites itch, unlike those of bedbugs. They can also cause these so-called papules. These are thickenings of the skin mostly about the size of a pea. It's unlikely that you will be attacked by fleas, but it is possible if you keep pets. They're the main culprits for transporting fleas into the house where they can be then transmitted to humans. Okay folks, well I hope you find this insect information helpful and you can identify those bites. If you like this video, why not check out another one right here. Till next time, bye.